everyone, my name is Lena and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my partner and I have been actively renovating our very old home here in New Orleans, and it's been a journey. It's been almost a year, and we are finally at the point of starting our next project. We just finished building an entire sunroom and we've now completed our bathroom. So if you haven't seen those videos, be sure to go check them out. If you are all caught up, then you probably see by the title of this video that we are starting a new chapter, a new renovation series that I'm super enthusiastic about, because it has been quite a year. It's been almost a year of us not having a fully functional kitchen. This place had 0 appliances before we moved in, where we literally purchased a refrigerator and that is all that the kitchen had in terms of appliances. So if you can picture in your mind, we had the setup, the true renovation setup of a table with a single hot plate, a microwave, and an air fryer. That I like to say is the golden trio. So I am super enthusiastic to be even at the point of being able to design the kitchen, because obviously, we still need to rip everything out and stuff, but sitting down and being on the same page about the design really helps, budgeting, it helps with planning, it helps with sourcing materials. I feel like it also helps us, I don't want to say stay motivated, but you have something to work towards and you have this plan in mind, and it doesn't feel like you have to figure everything out as you go. So that's the way that we're approaching this. We have not started the renovation yet, but Tyler and I each made our own separate Pinterest boards. At this point, we've now shared them with each other, and we have combined our boards and created a Milanote. This obviously is not sponsored in any way, but I really like Milanote because it takes what Pinterest does, which gives you inspiration, but makes it better, because you can add notes, you can add URLs, you can, combine, there could be multiple people who are on the board. So anyways, I say all that to say, in this video, we're going to be going over our kitchen design plan. We're going to be going over inspiration photos. I'm going to show you my Pinterest board. I'm going to show you the things that appeal to me, and the things that we're going to plan for, that we're actually going to do in this kitchen. I feel like for you guys who are watching this, I feel like it helps you have the vision in your mind when we are tearing out these ugly cabinets, when we are installing new flooring, we're doing all the things. You could really start to see what the end result will be if you understand where we're aiming to go. So that's what this video is. Obviously, if you have not already, be sure to subscribe. I'm super excited to be posting on YouTube and to have a small but mighty channel that is growing, and it means a lot to me if you would subscribe. So without further ado, let's go ahead and look at my Pinterest board. So before I actually show you our board, I want to talk about a few fundamentals that Tyler and I decided up front that will influence a lot of the design decisions that we make. And you'll notice as I continue to talk about things and the appliances we pick, it'll all make sense, that I should put it out there so you guys understand. The first thing is that the layout of the kitchen, currently it's an L shape for the cabinetry, and I feel like that makes the most sense. So we are going to continue the same layout as we put new cabinetry. There's a huge asterisk there because we're not sure if the appliances are going to go in the same spots, but we definitely do know that we will put the cabinetry back where it is after we get to the point of installing new cabinetry. We do plan on getting our cabinetry from our local hardware store. We're going to buy the boxes, and then we have plans to remove the doors and just customize them and custom build them. I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to our Pinterest board. But yeah, keeping the same cabinets. I'm not sure if we're keeping our uppers. We do have glass uppers. Not sure yet if we're keeping them, but that's something to think about. The second thing is that we are going to have all electric appliances. This is very intentional. We have chosen not to have gas appliances throughout the entire house. In fact, we don't even have a working gas line. I think that there is a gas line, but it's definitely not working or functional. But regardless, we are committed to being all electric. That's for multiple reasons. It spans a lot of topics, but to name a few, it's mainly for the environment, and also because there's a lot of rebates available to homeowners if you have electric appliances. Also, I love the induction stovetop. My little burner that I mentioned cooking on for the past year is induction, and I just love how quickly it heats up, how evenly it heats up. I just really enjoy the induction stovetop. So that is something that's top of mind for us as we're looking as we're choosing appliances, and as you will see on our boards, the appliances that we have chosen. So that's the second thing. And then the third thing is that we do not want a vent hood. This, honestly, I feel like this may be controversial. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below if you think this, if you agree with me or not. But my thought process is so the room itself is 25 feet long and 13 feet wide with 13 feet ceilings. So it's a pretty big room. It's not as wide as it is long, but because we have such tall ceilings, I feel like a range hood, in order for it to look right, it would have to go all the way up to the ceiling versus it just being clunky like in the middle of the wall. I just feel like that looks disruptive and it's an eyesore, especially as you walk in from the hallway into the kitchen. The stove will probably be like directly in the center of the wall. So I just feel like it'll draw a lot of unnecessary attention to something so bulky on the wall. And then also for like practicality purposes, the laundry room is behind the wall that I'm talking about. So in order for the air to properly be vented out, it'd have to go pretty high up on the wall. So we're not going to do a vent hood. I say that to say that also influences the type of stove that we go for. I mentioned induction, but yeah, those are the three things. So as I look into the design here, I just wanted to like talk about that because you're going to see, and I'm going to continue talking about this as we talk about some of the design choices that we're going to make. So one of the major things that I thought about when thinking about the kitchen is, for some reason, I immediately thought about the flooring. Obviously, we want to cover up the current flooring. We've just determined that this flooring, because it is a subfloor, it's very dirty. You can see the sunlight between the cracks. It's not practical. I know like I think we mentioned during our house tour, like I really wanted to like sand it and refinish them. It just isn't, it didn't really pan out. Like living with the floors for a while, I'd rather cover them up. They're not actual, they're just subfloors. They're subfloors, they're dirty. There's huge cracks between them. There's a lot of sections that need to be repaired. So when thinking about the kitchen, this is like the first real room of the house other than the bathroom where we start to run into this question of like, okay, what type of flooring are we going to do? And so for me, that was my starting point for the kitchen. Having just tiled the bathroom, I've been thinking a lot about what it's like to tile a very large room. Like I said, the room is 25 feet long by 13. That is a lot of tile. So that's extremely expensive. And I feel like that's outside of our budget. I feel like it's outside of our budget. You'll see here on my Pinterest board, I have tiles pinned and you can kind of see the vibe that I was going for. I was really going for the type of thing where if you see it, you're like, this looks like it's been here for a while, or like, wow, like this looks original to the house. I'm so happy you saved this. Like those are the type of design choices that we're trying to make for our home. Like I feel like a lot of times with design, people design with trends, and I feel like that's cool, but also it's not very long lasting. Like I don't want someone to look at my kitchen. I don't want to look at my kitchen in like 5 years and think, wow, that looks very outdated. Like that looks like I want it to stand the test of time, because obviously like we plan on being here for hopefully our whole lives, and I just want to feel as confident in the design as I do like in the future, if that makes sense. So yes, the type of tiles I was looking at were like checkered tiles. I thought those were cool. These are one of the major things that I pinned at first, but obviously I determined that was too expensive. So that's going to be a running theme here, is like, what do we like versus what we can afford, and like what is very practical for like our lifestyle. Tiling just doesn't suit our needs in terms of our budget, and also, yeah, it's mostly our budget, honestly. And also too, like this tile, I was afraid, especially this black and white tile here, I was afraid that it was super trendy, because it is super trendy currently. I feel like it's been trendy for a while. So that was my hesitancy with that. And then also too, when looking at my local tile places, I was like, I wasn't really finding anything that I liked. And when I did like something, it was extremely expensive. So this kind of led me down the path of, okay, if I'm not doing tile, what am I doing? Ultimately, the decision that Tyler and I came to is that we're actually going to be doing wood flooring. We're going to do similar flooring as we did in the sunroom, but we're just going to carry it throughout the entire house. We always planned to do that, but like for the kitchen, it was a big question mark, because I always thought we'd say tile, because people typically say that for kitchens. It's like you should do tile for a kitchen because of water and whatnot. But we're not really concerned about that because we're not doing a dishwasher or anything. So I just feel like it's pretty safe to go the route of tile floors. Wood floors. So yeah, so this is what my Pinterest looks like. This is what Tyler's and I's combined Pinterest looks like. You can see at first there's a lot of tile influence, and then you can see very quickly we start to go into this design choice called, I guess it's style, this design style called the unfit kitchen. So I personally, I was looking at different kitchen types, just trying to determine what I actually liked, and I ultimately landed on something that I'd never even heard of before. I don't know if you've ever heard of it before, but it's called an unfit kitchen. So it's basically like a lot of earth tones. It's very warm. Typically, at least from what I've observed, the cabinetry is either wood colored or there are non-traditional cabinetry used. So like, for example, if you're talking about like a hardware store cabinet, it's like that mixed with maybe like a dresser or like no doors are there, or maybe it's like a table, something like that. You'll notice this, I've pinned a lot of kitchens that are like this. You'll notice a lot of commonalities, like a lot of wood tones. There's a lot of white going on. I guess we should kind of talk about color. So color is a big question mark in this room for Tyler and I currently, because I know that I want the room to feel bright. I want it to feel bright and open. Obviously, it's a large room, so I feel like it will be easy to achieve, but it's like I don't want the room to be all white. I want it to feel warm and have character, and I want it to feel like it's always been here. So because of this, I feel like what I'm thinking of when I see the room is I think that the room has two parts, right? The bottom half that has cabinetry and the countertops, but also the top half with some sort of separation between them, whether it be like trim or like shelving or something. I'm really envisioning color cabinetry with some sort of backsplash, and then the upper half of the room being drywall with probably like a cream color. I want the room to feel light. So bear with me as I show you the photos and you'll understand what I'm talking about. So as we're scrolling here, you'll also notice, other than the unfit kitchen style that we're going for, you'll also notice that there's quite a few pictures with beadboard, which if you've seen any of our other videos, you'll see that we've already incorporated a lot of beadboard in this house already. We use it in the bathroom, we use it in the sunroom, and as we were thinking about flooring, we determined we want wood flooring, and obviously we know we're going to get our cabinetry from a hardware store. We're going to make our own cabinet faces. Not sure what they're going to be made of, but the next question after flooring is, okay, are we going to do a backsplash? Well, as I was pinning stuff, we kept on coming across these photos that specifically this photo, where you could see that there are, instead, in place of there being backsplash, there's actually beadboard, and the beadboard is carried up in a very tall way, and then at the top of it, there is a shelf. This really stood out to us because, one, I feel like it's very affordable, and two, I feel like it's very appropriate for New Orleans, but also the age of our house. Obviously, there's a lot of beadboard in our house already, like that we did not put in there, for example, the bathroom. So I feel like this just really makes a lot of sense. Not only that, but I feel like beadboard is also, like, on top of it being budget friendly, easy to install, it looks beautiful, it's appropriate to the home. I feel like it will not age out. Like, I feel like 40 years from now, the kitchen will still look appropriate for the age of our home. And that's what we're going for. So that really appeals to us. And then also too, in the same photo, there are these doors for the cabinets, and they incorporate beadboard. Currently, I'm not sure yet if that's like what we're going for, because I'm afraid it's too much beadboard. But also, let me show you this other photo. There's another photo that we have pinned here. Same style as an unfit kitchen, but this time the door is like all similar to the other one, where it's like flush with the cabinetry. That's another small detail that we noticed about these kitchens, is that the cabinetry is flush, or the door is flush. This one looks like it's a bunch of planks that are held together by something called strap hinges, which are these black hinges that hold the door to the frame, to the cabinet base. And this honestly looks very ideal to me. I feel like one of my biggest complaints about the cabinetry located in the hardware store is that I just feel like they look like they come from the hardware store because I've seen them enough. I don't know if that's just me. Maybe like the average person can't look at it and think, oh, like that comes from Home Depot or whatever. So I just feel like by creating our own cabinet fronts and maybe mimicking this style, I feel like it'll give it a lot of character and it'll make it look a lot more custom in a way that's a lot more affordable. So that's kind of like the ideas that we're toying with for our kitchen is wood flooring, cabinetry that's either beadboard or like planks with straps with, obviously we are also thinking about countertops, again, thinking about budget in a way that is affordable to us, but also giving us the style that we love. We are doing butcher block. So between the flooring, the butcher block, and the cabinetry, I feel like there's going to be a lot of warmth. There's going to be a good amount of wood tones as well. And then obviously as I'm scrolling here, something else that really stands out to us is beams. There seems to be like a commonality in a lot of the photos and of the kitchens that I was pinning had beams, like wooden beams on the ceiling. So obviously currently our kitchen does not have exposed wooden beams. However, I'm really into the idea of creating faux beams, like creating faux beams to put on our ceiling that are stained, because I feel like it gives, because the room, in terms of the scale, the room is so large, again, 25 by 13 with 13 feet ceilings, I feel like that's really going to give visual interest to the top half of the room. So between the faux beams, the stained flooring, the butcher block, which will also have a wood color, that will provide so much warmth to the room and give us a lot of this feeling that I think the unfit kitchen gives us. Obviously, I think we're going to need to source some sort of dresser or table, definitely some sort of like butcher block island. That's also like a wood tone or something like that. I feel like that will really add to the design, but that's to be determined until we find something. But again, this is why we're doing this, to talk about. So yeah, so there's a couple of other things on here that really stand out to me. I really like the idea of wallpaper. With a room so large, I feel like it's not reasonable to wallpaper the top half that's drywalled, but maybe like if we keep the glass uppers, we can wallpaper the back of them just to kind of give it a little bit of visual interest. But yeah, this is basically kind of what we're going for. I mean, we talked about flooring, we're talking about faux beams. We're talking about the countertops. Again, color is a big question mark. I'm not sure if we want to paint our cabinets or like paint the cabinets, plus what color do we want the beadboard backsplash. We definitely want some sort of shelving to act as like a transition between the beadboard and the drywall on top. So I don't know yet what color we want to do. We obviously lean towards colors like green, but we just did green for the sunroom, so I think we're going to stay away from green for this time. And obviously I don't want it to be all white. I want it to feel fun but also warm and kind of like hit all of these elements that I like. So leave a comment down below. What color do you think we should paint our kitchen? I mean, I'm curious to think what you guys, like if you can guess like maybe what color we're gonna pick, because I obviously do not know. So on this Milano, I've pulled photos from Pinterest and put them on here and directly call out things that we're going to be doing. So for example, like you see here, beams are specifically called out because again, we want to build beams. Maybe not exactly like this because our roof is not tented like this. And then you can see that we also have the beadboard incorporated as a backsplash. And then there's also elements of an unfit kitchen where there's a lot of wood tones, and then also there's like a little curtain moment. I love when kitchens have like a little curtain moment under the sink or like used instead of a cabinet face. I really adore that. You can see we have some cabinetry pinned or like outlined. I'm not quite sure which direction we're gonna go in, but we're really leaning towards this one where you like put a bunch of planks together and you have a strap hinge. I just feel like it's gonna look phenomenal. And then you could see here as well, there is cabinetry that's flush with the cabinet doors are flush with the cabinetry. That just in observing the different kitchens and the things that really like lure us in, that seems to be a tiny detail in older kitchens that we really, really want to incorporate into our own kitchen design. So yeah, so that's pretty much the gist of it. Not sure about color, but now we know the flooring, we know what we're going for the backsplash. Color is a big question mark. We still obviously need to think about our cabinet fronts and then maybe source some sort of dresser or table or something that we can incorporate into the kitchen. And then also too, I have photos here of the appliances that we've picked. I have over here, you can see we've sourced these 2 lanterns. They look small on my needle note, but it's like very large in person. We sourced these 2 lanterns off of Facebook Marketplace, and I think we got them for like $100 total, which I feel like is a steal. But we're going to be using that as lighting. We're going to be hanging it from the ceiling. And then we have our hardware picked out, you know, our kitchen faucet. We actually sourced our strap hinges. That's how you could tell we're serious about building these cabinet fronts. I have the kitchen sink that we want. It's a farmhouse kitchen sink. I have always dreamed of having a big sink. I cannot wait until we actually have one. And then also too, you can see our appliances. I have here on the right the refrigerator that we purchased. We already own it. That is something that we got outside of this renovation, but we specifically chose one that had a flat face because I'm not sure yet if we're going to pursue like the cabinet, like you know how when people have refrigerators that you hide with cabinetry and then you're like open it and it's a refrigerator? Well, this refrigerator is flat, so if we wanted to build something like that, we could. I didn't want to like box us in when we chose that. But yeah, and then you see here we have our oven and then we have our stove. The stove, again, is induction, it's electric. It drops into the counter. There is a downdraft, so there's going to be some venting underneath it. So I'm not quite sure where the oven's going to go. Again, we'll be figuring that out as we actually plan the logistics of the layout. So that pretty much sums it up. I think that our kitchen is going to be very fun. I feel like we basically have a blank slate to work with. It's a sizable room. It's a sizable room that I feel like will turn out beautifully. Like I feel like with enough intention, like I think that we can achieve what we want. I think oftentimes I feel like you look at these designs and you're like, how do you get your kitchen to look like this? We can achieve the vibes that we're going for. So that pretty much sums up this entire video. I hope you guys liked looking through my Pinterest and like kind of unpacking my thoughts with me. We have a plan in place that will definitely, it gives us enough like flexibility. Like there's a few things that we haven't figured out, but I feel like with the things that we have figured out, it gives us enough flexibility to start renovations and like to start tearing things out. Because once you remove that kitchen sink, you are officially washing your dishes outside. So you need to have a plan in place. And I think that this plan sets us up for success and I think it'll be worth it. So like I said, if you haven't subscribed already, be sure to do so. I think we have some exciting things in store and I'm excited to show you guys the process along the way. So with that, I will see you guys next time where we will literally be ripping out our kitchen. We will see you then.